Hi, and welcome back to the channel. We are finishing up the Legend of Korra today. This is book 4, chapter 13, titled The Last Stand. Oh, it's been some journey so far. Talked about it in the previous one, and now we're just so curious to see how this whole thing is going to wrap up with everything that has happened in the 4 books leading up to this point. And what happened at the end of the last one was we had a sacrifice from Asami's father, which was sad to see. And then our heroes, they made it inside of the Colossus, and now they're going to try to take it down and take Kaveria down once and for all. We also talked about kind of our predictions for this last episode, this last chapter, in the previous one as well. So I think unless you have anything, we're just gonna jump straight into it because we are so excited about this. And you can of course always check out our full-length reactions where you can sync up the footage with your own copy of the episode. We also have early reactions for some of the shows that we're doing. At this point, we probably also started a new show over on Patreon as well, where we've had a poll going and everything. So if you want to check out any of that stuff, the link is down in the description below. And here we go. Last episode in the Avatar verse in a long while. Oh man, this is so weird. This is so weird.
Hiroshi helped Team Avatar infiltrate the Mecha Giant, but he paid the ultimate price. Is victory within reach for our heroes?
Hiroshi, yeah, that was his name.
Hiroshi? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Me and my dad jokes. I'm gonna be a great dad.
I'm going after Kaveria.
Are you sure? When you fought Kaveria before.
I know. She almost destroyed me. Not this time.
Yes. Wow. That's a lot. I love the lava bending.
Yeah, me too.
1, 2. Nice. Oh shit.
Nice work. The outside may be platinum, but we can do a lot of damage in here.
Yes.
Can I destroy it? Let me just...
Yeah.
It's no malfunction. The weapon's useless now.
Ha. Oh. Okay, that's the way to get rid of it, I guess. Shitsu Lin.
Well, they were kind of wearing seatbelts.
In a way, yeah. Seems like they're just knocked out, at least. Boom. Oh, that move. Come on, Cora. You can beat her.
Easily.
Maybe not easily, but...
I'm ready! Be with you in 1 second!
Ha.
2, 3. Nothing's happening.
Press
Come
all
on.
the
Spent all that
buttons.
time working with Varric and Batar Jr. Didn't any of their genius rub off on you?
Look, the only thing I know about these vines is that if you mess around with them too much, they explode.
No.
Get those engineers out of here. I have an idea.
Get out as soon as you can. Promise?
Promise.
Don't do this to me.
I love you.
I love you too. Now go!
Don't do this to me.
No more fucking sacrifices. Marco.
Get out of there now, please.
Come on, get out, get out, get out. You can do it. No!
Nice!
Nice move, yeah. Oh, thank you, Poland. It's gonna fucking blow.
Wow.
Oh, she actually
It's
dragged
over.
her out of there.
You're gonna call off your army and surrender to President Raiko. And you and
Come on, Kaveria.
Kaveria, give up. Never.
She's way too stubborn and proud.
Now it's over. Don't!
That's where that thing ended up. What the fuck is going on? What the hell?
Shut it down! I can't!
What have you done?
Oh damn. That can't be good.
What? They created another spirit portal?
A new spirit portal.
Okay.
Tenzin, there's no sign of her.
Keep looking. Cora! Cora!
Oh. They're in the spirit world.
Why would you save my life? After everything I did to you? I guess I see a lot of myself in you. This wasn't how I wanted things to end. Messing with the spirit vines, acting like a dictator over your people. You had to know what you were doing wasn't right. I was cast aside by my own parents like I meant nothing to them. How could I just stand by and watch the same thing happen to my nation when it needed someone to guide it? I may not have been an orphan, but believe me, I understand what it feels like to be afraid.
See what happens when you just talk things through.
Try and meet each other with understanding and empathy.
Yeah.
Hey! Look at all the spirits.
Stand down. This battle is over. I'll accept whatever punishment the world sees fit.
We gather today to celebrate the wondrous and at times inexplicable bond between Savaric and the Lady Julie. Thank you, Mr. Pabu.
Nice little outfit.
Do you promise to treat her not as your assistant, but as your honored and cherished partner? And also scrub his calluses on a bi-weekly basis, which isn't really that much to ask. Okay, I'm not reading all this.
I do take Varric.
You may now do the thing.
Oh.
Oh.
Nice little callback. Hey, Nocturne!
You ready to get back to Ba Sing Se and finally take the throne?
Yeah, about that. I was actually thinking of stepping down as king and getting rid of the monarchy altogether.
Oh.
The words thank you don't feel big enough for what you did. But I honestly don't know what else to say.
You don't need to say anything. I'll follow you into battle no matter how crazy things get. I've got your back, and I always will.
I bet Aang never could have imagined there'd be a spirit portal right in the heart of Republic City.
See, it's just fucked.
You don't know how happy I am to hear you so full of hope again.
It's been a bit of a bumpy ride, huh?
I've come to realize life is one big bumpy ride.
I needed to understand what true suffering was. so I could become more compassionate to others. Even to people like Kaveria.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Tenzin. Varric is looking for you. Something about wanting to borrow a glider suit to fly off the tower?
That doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah.
I could use a vacation.
Let's do it. Let's go on a vacation, just the two of us. Anywhere you want.
Really? I've always wanted to see what the spirit world's like.
Sounds perfect.
Don't leave that up to interpretation. Come on. Come on. You're not Disney. Come on.
But they weren't gonna show it, but still, that was where.
Come on. It's not Disney.
Kiss. Oh man. That was, yeah, sweet, emotional ending. I definitely teared up as well. It's hard not to. But it almost feels like it's unfinished in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, I'm just expecting for there to be another book or at least another chapter, but no.
It didn't feel as final as The Last Airbender.
No, it didn't have that. Like, they could have used at least an extra chapter to just let things fizzle out a little bit more. It just felt like, okay, we had the whole ending with, defeating Kaveria and then them having the conversation, Cora and Kaveria. And I love the fact that it being about, what Cora learned from the whole thing with having compassion and going through the pain and being able to understand people like Kaveria. And we said it like that's what you need to do. You need to sit down and talk about things, have empathy and compassion, and not
condemn each other.
Yeah, exactly. Just for being different or wanting different things. You bump into people who want something different than what you want. You try to understand them instead of just fighting them or pushing back necessarily, and unless of course they're trying to like straight up hurt you, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was just that was a good one there, and then that happening, and then them having to wrap it up with the wedding, and it was a beautiful wedding, and then we heard from some of the characters, but it was just, it didn't, I wanted to spend more time with them.
It was not as like, I feel like it was not as epic as in the Last Airbender, where we had this whole, we build up through 4 seasons.
Three seasons.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
This is 4, the other one's 3. Yeah. We build up to this major thing, and we just, it was an epic final. Like Aang learned something, and it was the whole thing with bending one's chi, and it was just it just felt more epic and really like rounded off. And of course, I can also understand why they would leave it up a little bit more open this time around, but.
Yeah, and then we know about the whole thing with them, with the budget and them fighting budget constraints, and why they had to do the recap episode, and they probably wanted to do more as well. Maybe they even wanted to put in an extra episode in this to really just let things breathe a little bit, but they weren't able to do it, so they did the best they could. And I still think it was an amazing finale and a great book as well, and with so many great themes and character arcs all throughout. It was just just wanted just a little bit more, just a teeny tiny bit more, but I'm sure we have a bunch of questions to get through, so let's do that.
So from Burrito, oh my god, this is the end of this amazing show. I'm very glad I experienced it with you guys. I will not ask questions specifically about the series, as I'm sure that you already said everything you think about. I just hope that you like this universe as much as I do, and you'll look forward to the release of new content in it.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Also, while we are waiting for new content from Avatar Studios, I would like to recommend you read the dialogy of novels about Avatar Kyoshi. These books have already become bestsellers and have managed to fall in love with fans as well as TV series.
Okay, so fans really love those books and comics, and we really want to look into all of that as well. And we also still haven't read the one with Zuko's mother, going to find her. So we're gonna dive into that at some point for sure. I don't know if it's anything we're gonna be able to like react to, but we might be able to talk about it at some point. And I feel like we should probably do a wrap up live stream again for this series, just like we did with the last app. And
absolutely,
that would be great, and we can talk more about the comparisons there between the two shows in that one. So look out for that. That's coming at some point. Yes.
Austin D.
Good old Austin D.
Yeah. Korasami.
Yeah, exactly. They alluded to that in the end, and that it's definitely that's the message they wanted to get through, and they probably just weren't able to like really just show it, or they didn't want to, and it's a shame it's gonna be like that, but we understand the meaning of it. We know that's they end up together.
Don't get me started on stuff like that. I have a thing or a billion to say about stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting little tidbit. Brian Kinetsko, I don't know if I'm saying it right, one of the co-creators, made a Tumblr post a week after the finale saying Cora and Asami indeed got together romantically at the end of the show. It is a great post about the creator's journey to decide on how the relationship developed over the years, Nickelodeon's limitations to far how they could go with it, queer representation in media at the time, and how much it impacted fans of the show. Give it a read sometime if you're interested. And then the link.
Nice, yeah. Definitely gonna do that.
How do you think about the relationship? Are you satisfied with how both of their stories ended? Thanks for all the amazing reactions. I will always keep going back to your videos when I need some Avatar in my life.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Austin. Thank you so much. And thank you for telling us about that, the post. And it's great to get that knowledge, a little bit of background knowledge.
Yeah, and indeed getting some confirmation then, and there's even like from the co-creators there's actually an answer to why they didn't really like show more.
Yeah, I suspected it was something like that, where they probably wanted to show more and really confirm it on screen, but it was the limitations of Nickelodeon and the times, even though it's not that long ago, and it's definitely still an issue now for some people. Barf. You're right. Let's not get into all those real life things necessarily, because then we're gonna sit here for
he does ask us about what we think of the relationship and if we're satisfied with it. And I absolutely, I rooted for them a long time ago. And also just me being almost obsessed with the Sami from the beginning because of my own bi-panness, sexuality. I would say it's not an S, it's a sexuality. Yeah. So in that regard, I think it's great that we have some representation, some bi representation. I think it's amazing and fantastic. And the relationship, I'm definitely very satisfied that they got together in the end, and the way that they built up to it. Like they had this great chemistry together, and they bonded over Mako, and then suddenly exactly. they confided in each other, and they started a relationship based on trust.
Yes.
And based on like friendship. And I think sometimes the best relationships are actually, not all the time, but some of the best relationships are definitely the ones where you can trust each other and also like confide each other, and it's basically your best friend, right?
Yeah. There's like a mutual, experience level. They've gone through a lot, both of them, and they have been able to, as you said, confide in each other. And we saw that a lot in this book, where we found out that they kept writing each other, whereas Cora didn't talk to Bolin and Mako as much anymore, and it was mostly Asami, because she just understood her better, and they just really formed an extremely strong bond that then developed into, you know, love. So that's just beautiful.
And think about all the kids out there. I'm just thinking, this was from 2012, 2014, something like that. It's still, back then, it was not necessarily some of the most, we did know about lesbians and gays and stuff like that, but I also feel like, especially with bi and pansexuality, there's not a lot of representation, because people are so very binary in thinking, like, you can only date
one from the opposite sex, and that's it.
Yeah, one from the opposite sex, or one from your own, like, it's
either or. You can't just love people for people.
And you can't just, like, it's just because I've experienced this kind of gatekeeping before with, like, oh, so you're bi or you're pan, but you have a person, or, well, if it's like, if you're then dating someone of your own sex, then you're suddenly not heterosexual anymore. Like, you're not bisexual, then you're suddenly homosexual. And if you're dating someone of the opposite sex, then you are heterosexual, and you can't be both, even though, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think
it's so binary, and I think it's great that we have some bi representation, some pan representation, that we transcend these borders of this binary thinking of gender and sexuality, not necessarily gender, but at least sexuality. And I think, is this the first person we actually see that is dating someone of their own sex, their own gender?
What, in the Avatar verse?
Yeah,
or
I think
probably,
it might be.
Feel free to correct us in the comments if there's any other examples of that. But yeah, probably.
Yeah, and think of all the kids, like.
Think of the kids.
No, but in a good way.
I know.
Because all throughout both Atla and Legend of Korra, we've gone through all of these very relatable things, and we have been talking about, like, how they are very good at handling all of this stuff. But we've been, at least I've been feeling a little bit that they were kind of falling short on the romance thing. And think about all both the gay kids and the bisexual kids out there, just maybe feeling like they still needed some sort of representation, and bam, there it is.
Yeah, it's a shame that at this point during the series that it wasn't even airing on Nickelodeon anymore. It was just purely on the website, and they kind of just brushed it off to the side. That's really a shame, but that happens sometimes with really great storytelling that might challenge some people out there, and then the people in power will be like, oh no, that's too challenging, or that's too much, or it doesn't really fit into a neat little box where we want our content to fit into. And then they're gonna push it to the side and just give us something that won't really push the envelope or give the same sort of representation, or whatever it is. We see that all the time, but hopefully we will get better at that, you know, just as a whole, as a species, as a society, whatever you want to say.
From Ahsoka Bendu, I love how they utilized Mako's lightning throughout the series. It's thankfully not overused, and is always shown at clutch moments. How do you feel about him willing to sacrifice himself, and about his growth from books 1 to 4? I always cry during that beautiful sequence.
Yeah, I was just for a minute there. I was like, oh damn, Mako, he's gonna go out like that. He has come a long way. Another one of those great character journeys. And I also agree with the lightning, that they didn't overuse it. We always knew that he was able to do it, but he just used it at very opportune moments. And I'm sure it's something that's difficult to do as well. Like, if he was able to do it like all the time and just be a pure lightning bender, then he might have done that. But yeah, they utilized it pretty well. And I think like it's sometimes throughout the series, he might not have been like the most interesting character or the one who had been utilized the best, but I think they really found a sweet spot for him here towards the end, with, yeah, just being the kind of person that he turned out to be, and someone who was willing to sacrifice his life for the greater good, and for his friends and his city.
He started out a bit, I don't know, he felt a bit like indifferent in a way, like, you know, kind of too cool for school, too cool to care.
Typical cool teenager dude who's just
brooding.
A lot of brooding.
Yeah, but then something happened and he wanted to do better for humanity. He even got to be an investigator with the police force.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, well, as you said, he was not utilized a lot, so he kind of fell a bit in the background. And then here in the end, he actually went from being almost, like, as I said, different, and then he actually started to care. And then
yeah. I'm sure he always cared, but now he's definitely just showing it and just being more comfortable with it. I don't know. This great character arc for him as well.
Yes. And Elda says, how do you feel about this season overall? And how do you feel about Korra's growth this last season? Thank you for all your reactions, discussions. Love this show.
Thank you. I think when it comes to Cora, she really had like a very powerful journey all throughout, but especially in this last book, and also in book 3, I would say. But in this one, you could just really feel the struggle all the way through, and it felt so real. It felt so human. So it's just another. Well done writing team. Well done everyone who worked on the series. Just a great protagonist who's able to make mistakes. Like she made mistakes. She got vulnerable, got in her own head, and it wasn't so much necessarily about the physical stuff, but what was going on inside of her head. You know, mental issues, that's another theme that popped up a lot, which I think is very important for people to talk about and understand, and have a lot of compassion and empathy when it comes to that in particular. You know, what are we dealing with as human beings? And then her reaching that point at the end, I already said it, when sitting down with Kaveria and then using that empathy and that compassion. And she also said it in the end. Now I have learned so much from all of this. I still have more to do. Now my work can really begin, because now I feel like a whole person. I understand myself. I understand the world. I can understand other people. I can care for them. I have room for that now. Yeah,
and I think this, I don't know, it's been used all over and all the time, but Atla being about a person becoming the Avatar, and Legend of Korra being about the Avatar becoming a person.
Yes,
I think it fits great, and that's also what, because now she's got her person. Now she knows who she is, and she's got all of this that Aang already had, because he was like a person. Like he was. It sounds weird to say that he was a person, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He was a fully functional personality, or he really knew himself and all that. And now, because she finally got to the point where she's like, hey, I know who I am now. It feels like that was just the beginning.
Yes.
And I think, so in that regard, I think it's spot on to say it like that, because damn, she went a whole long way, and she's finally here. And it was and I think, I'm sorry, I think especially with Atla, where you ramp up throughout the whole thing, and it's like you get to a point where it's like you get to the end, and that's the whole thing, because you build up for this. Where I feel with Cora, it was not necessarily like this huge epic show off in the end, and it was like something you build up throughout the seasons. This is about the journey, whereas the other was more about what was the
destination.
Destination, exactly. Well, this is much more about like the journey.
In Atla, we had the end point in sight.
Exactly.
All the way through. We knew that's how the series is going to end. Aang has to go up against Osai, and he needs to be ready. He needs to learn all of these Avatar skills. Whereas Korra, it wasn't, a continuous still a continuous story, but we didn't have that end in sight in the
No.
same way. And it was, as you're saying, more about the journey, her learning from everything that happened in book 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and using it. And then that's the gratifying feeling you get in the end. It's from the journey, and not necessarily because it was this big epic finish.
No, exactly. And I also think, going back to the original question about like how do you feel about there was the season, about the show in general. I think because the it's more about the journey, it can like stumble and fall more easily, as we saw with like season 2. It was kind of like, I think
some more like, highs and lows, or more dips in the valley.
So if we have to compare it to Atla, I would definitely say that I prefer Atla, but that's just my opinion. But there's definitely some incredibly strong seasons, and like the highs in this one has just been absolutely outstanding and amazing.
Yes.
But it is kind of countered with that. The lows kind of got a bit low as well, so it kind of like evens out almost.
Yeah, so Atla was more consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
Quality-wise is what you're saying, whereas Cora definitely had some highs that was on par, if even better than Atla. It was just some of the lows. They were also
kind of dragged it
a little bit down, but all in all, it's still like when you compare it to so many other animated series or just series in general, it's still amazing storytelling.
Yeah. And Ahsoka Bendu again. Thanks for all the amazing reactions. Legend of Korra is my all-time favorite animated series, and it warms my heart seeing people discover it and love the Legend of Korra as well. Sonny, your thoughts are always a joy to hear, and I just love your breakdowns. Kat, you're the best. Your brilliant mind and deep emotions during these reactions have been a highlight for me. Thank you both for taking the time to do this. The pandemic has been hard, and having the internet connection, having the internet connect us all helps tremendously. Oh, sorry, I can't. Thank you so much for watching and being such great support to us, Ahsoka, and always having these wonderful questions and always these wonderful thoughts and feelings and just supporting us. It's been very nice, and as you say, it's been important with this internet connection in these hard times.
Yeah, that we can connect across borders and countries, and it's amazing. And that, of course, it goes for everyone who has been watching and commenting with nice, well thought out, not necessarily theories because you've already seen it, but just giving us some more insight into what's going on. And we hope that, you just enjoyed being on this journey with us, with both Atla and the Legend of Korra.
Because we sure did.
Yeah, we sure did. And as I already mentioned, we're going to do a big wrap-up live stream, same as we did with Atla. So looking forward to that, because I'm sure we're going to have a lot more to say and talk about. And if we get into everything that's going on in our minds right now, then this is going to be a 2-hour video. So we're going to save some of that for the live stream. But there are a few more questions, I believe, comments.
Elder, again. Crazy to think that Asami has never been to the spirit world this whole series. Love her relationship with Cora. We see throughout the show how she's always asking Cora if she's okay. That's true.
That is true. Like she has so much compassion and empathy as well, Asami, and that's probably also one of the reasons why we really love her character. And that's true. Like she's one of the only ones who didn't really go into the spirit world like at any point throughout this series. So that was really nice that they got to do that in the end together. And she was like, well, we need to take a break and let's just, you and I, go into the spirit world and just disappear together for a little while.
Let's go on vacation.
Let's go on vacation. Yeah, exactly. Let's hope that Varric and Shuli didn't have the same idea. So, their honeymoon and like it's gonna,
It's gonna be those again. Okay, Shady07. Thoughts on Cora saving Kaveria and how this last villain was defeated?
Oh, well, I just think that was more of a very important for Cora to do as well, and that's where the compassion and the empathy comes in. Again, her saving Kaveria and taking the time to sit down and say, no, I condemn your actions, but I understand you. I know where you're coming from. And that was a theme all throughout the series with all of the villains, is you can see where they were coming from, pretty much all of them, maybe with the exception of Unalaq. But and Kaveria was, we could definitely see where she was coming from. She took it just so far and pretty much ended up destroying Republic City, as we saw in the end. It's a very good thing that he came up with just the evacuation plans. Otherwise there would have been so much collateral damage.
But I feel like that maybe that's why I felt almost deflated in a way throughout, like with this ending a bit, because I feel like they didn't flesh that whole thing out. I think it was a bit rushed, the way that they did the whole, like, then they just sat down and said like two things to each other, then suddenly she realized she was doing bad and all this. I think they could have fleshed it out a lot more. And I also feel like we should have had, like, I know it was a budget cut thing and they really wanted to do like a backstory on Kaveria, and I think that would have just elevated this ending a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because then we could, we can definitely see where she's coming from, but, to really drive this home, to really slam this one home, we should have seen where she came from and kind of gotten into that state of compassion, because we should be seeing Kaveria with Cora's eyes. I feel like I missed that connection a bit.
Yeah.
Because it felt like I also know where you're coming from, but not really, I know where you're coming from, and then it was basically just it. And I think that could have been
they could have spent some more time with that, but as you already said, probably because of the budget cuts, and you're also mentioned that they wanted to do a whole episode dedicated to Kaveria's past. That would have done a lot, just for us to understand her character even more, instead of just getting a few sentences at the very end where she told about how her parents, kind of failed her and all of that. So I still think it was a satisfying end, but you're totally right. It could have just had that a bit of more oomph if we had gotten some time to really understand Kaveria.
Yeah, but it does also very nicely mirror the ending of Atla, because we've known throughout his whole struggle, Aang's whole struggle was like, do we really have to kill this person? So definitely two sides of not necessarily the same coin, but kind of like the same situation, where it's like, why are you saving me? Like, she was even saying, like, why are you saving me? And this is like, well, this is about compassion. This is about, like, you don't deserve to die. This is not about, like, death and
I'm not gonna punish you by killing you. No, I'm gonna try to understand you and understand people like you, so this won't happen again. That's the most important part. If we don't learn from what's going on, from our own mistakes, from other people's mistakes, then how can we move on? How can we improve the life for the rest of the people on the planet if we just condemn, and then push away or kill, then we won't learn anything.
But maybe it is two sides of the same coin, because Aang got to where he was throughout, like, because he was like, I wanted to save this person from the start, like, if he could, like, no bloodshed, and he learned to do that throughout, like, his avatar thing. Whereas Cora, she learned through compassion, like becoming a whole person again. She suddenly got to this point, but from like the other side of it, like the personal side, where Aang was already there.
He was already there, and then he got the power afterwards. She had the power beforehand, and then she needed to get there. Once again, same thing you said with becoming a person versus becoming the avatar.
Exactly.
It very well sums up both of those journeys. It really does. But now I feel almost exhausted.
Yeah.
I want to keep talking about this, and we are going to in that live stream now. I'm mentioning it for the third time, but it's coming at some point, and then we can get to all of your questions and comments as well, and we can talk back and forth about our favorite things and least favorite things, perhaps.
Going into the depth of certain thematics and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's gonna do it for this reaction and review, at least, of The Legend of Korra, Book 4, Chapter 13, The Last Stand. That was the end. We've wrapped up both Avatar, The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra. What a journey it was, and thank you guys again so much for following us on that journey. It's really been a blast, and we cannot wait for some more stories inside of the Avatar verse from Avatar Studios. But yeah, I already said it. That's gonna do it. Thank you guys once again, and we'll see you as soon as possible. Bye.
Bye.